Loading snacks.
What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Sin.
Yo.
I'm here with Jokes.
Yo.
And it is time for another episode of Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler Boys.
And this time, the Spoiler Boys are here to spoil Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, the very first film in Phase 5 of the MCU, the very first film in the multiverse saga. I guess. I guess Phase 4 was really the multiverse saga. Was the beginning of the multiverse saga.
Yeah.
After the Infinity Saga ended. So we're in the middle. We're in the middle of the multiverse saga with this film. First film in this phase. And we are more or less just meeting our villain.
Yes.
Yep. I think
pretty much. Yeah.
So here's what's odd to me before we really start digging into this, because I think we need to kind of get a good setup for where we are, what this means, and how it differs from, I think, what we've been used to over the last.
Actually, before you get too far into it, because we have a comment already coming in, 1000% fam says they have not watched the movie yet. So if you haven't watched the movie yet, this is probably not going to be the best thing to watch right now, unless
they don't care about spoilers.
I mean, interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you don't care about spoilers, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But we're not spoiling anything just yet. So you have a few minutes. I think it's very interesting where we are in the MCU, and I kind of want to make sure that we just kind of get, like, we clear the runway. So Phase 4 at the beginning of the multiverse saga, I feel like was very confusing to people. I think people were up and down on it. I think there were a lot of experimental things. We came through the whole COVID-19 thing. That shut a lot of stuff down, pushed stuff back. We didn't get any Marvel movies for a full year. TV shows and animated stuff with What If, and just, I mean, kind of felt like they were reaching, but again, I think they were doing some experimentation that felt very different from the experiments that were the original Iron Man, the original Thor, the original Captain America. Please know that those were very much experimental in terms of eventually being able to tie them all together and make it one true, full cinematic universe. Also remember that in those first films, Loki was originally the big bad as we go through that first phase. We weren't introduced really to Thanos until like the end of the first Avengers movie. And then it was like, oh, snap, something's coming. Snap. I didn't do that. That wasn't.
Sometimes it just happens like that.
Right.
Like,
I am a dad, and those jokes are welcome. So, not getting Kang until like more or less halfway through that phase in some manner. Like, they didn't even say the name, but He Who Remains in Loki, as we kind of set up what this is. But we also, very different from the beginning of the MCU, we also have to deal with the aftermath of what has already happened in the previous phase, which is a thing that, you're dealing with the fallout, the changes in characters, the switching of the guard, replacing old actors with new versions of characters. It's much more difficult to do. And I think it feels like it's kind of all over the place and people are a little like fair to middling on it. But again, I think we're clearing the runway. We'll get into how I feel about this movie as a whole. However, in terms of this movie being the first film of Phase 5, we are just now lifting the wheels off the tarmac, bro. Like, we are now beginning to get airborne. And so, like, the trip hasn't even really started, bro. Like, we was packing our bags and on our way to the airport and then waiting for our joint to get called and then boarding the plane and taking luggage in the stove and, like, waiting for them to run down the runway and then starting to go down the run. Like, it, like, we're just now feeling the pilot pull back. You know, like how controllers are supposed to be when you want to go up, like you pull back. You know what I'm saying? Like that inverted. You know what I'm talking about? How you pull back to go up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, Sin?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know
what I'm talking
about? So, like, I think I was with everybody else. I was kind of like, after, like, in thinking back on the last phase, it's kind of like, I'm excited about what's going on, kind of because as a person who knows comics, like, I'm in the know. You know what I mean? I kind of see some of what they're doing, and in a lot of ways, I'm waiting to see what they do differently. But this is like, all right, now we're getting into the air. That's how I feel about this movie. And I wholeheartedly believe that on this flight, we're going to have some turbulence.
Ooh.
It's going to be a little bumpy. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's expected. I think anybody who goes on a trip or who has ever been on a plane knows what that is. You get on it and you just expect some turbulence. A couple little drops, gets a little shaky. And exactly, Joe. But it all comes through, you know what I mean, at the other side before you get back, you know, on the plane to make your next, you know. So let's talk about this. Like, before we start digging into details of the film, I just kind of want to get an overall feeling from each of you about how you feel about this movie as it pertains to this being the first film of Phase 5. Sin got his Jeopardy playing in his head.
I thought it was okay as far as being the first one coming into this new phase. I thought it was okay. I had 3 big issues with the movie, but we'll get into all that as we go forward. But yeah, I think it was an okay start.
But I'm gonna have to wait to hear what you have.
Yeah.
I'm in the same place. I thought it was okay. Like, I think it left us with some questions, which is a good thing, of course, being in to start things out. And with just the entrance to us meeting Kang the Conqueror for really the first time, not the He Who Remains, I thought was pretty cool. So I thought they gave us a few tidbits, a few things to kind of digest, but they didn't overdo it. So I thought it was a good start to get us into this phase.
I'm gonna be honest. I think they might have overdone it.
Really?
A little bit. I mean, look, I'm gonna be. I think for me, it's not necessarily overdone. I think most people, like, if you're a casual MCU fan, you might be more confused now. Like, I think it's highly likely that you're more confused right now than you were coming in at all. Like, it just, for a relatively simple film, all right, let me take that back. For for what should be or what could be a relatively simple film, this movie is not quite as straightforward as I think people would expect, because there's a precedent set with Ant-Man that are a bit more straightforward. There are always kind of crazy, wacky things happening in the Ant-Man films, but I think if you saw the first two Ant-Man films and you came into this one with an expectation of what you were going to get, I don't think it is as simple and or straightforward as those films are. That first Ant-Man film was a heist film.
Mm-hmm.
The second Ant-Man film, also a heist film. This film pretends to be a heist film, but it isn't. It doesn't have any of the other qualities that you might find in like an Ocean's 11 or something like that lend it to being a heist film. He is being asked to steal something because that's what he is, apparently, right? Not that that's necessarily a thing that I guess Kang would really know, so to speak, but it is kind of a thing that's a lingering thing that I guess still haunts him, right? Like he's, you know, he can't get away from being a thief, which I think is an important piece of Scott Lang's story. And again, we can get into that a little bit, but I just think it is so much more like Avengers and so much more MCU, if you will, I think, than the other films were, because there's so much backlog of stuff prior to this film. And you have this need again to introduce a new character, to skip in a lot of ways her getting a suit, learning who she is, starting to do stuff. Like, we skip all of that for real. So I think that the film, for a long film, because I mean at just over 2 hours, it's long, and it's more regular now, but it's long. I still think there are some things that are on the cutting room floor. I still think there are some things that don't quite get explained out. And I think that I know that Kang as a character is completely confusing. And so that turbulence I was talking about is definitely coming, because there's no way with Secret War, Secret Invasion, like, and Kang Dynasty coming, it's going to be so confusing who is who and when things are happening and where they are. And I just think they have to tread very, very lightly, because it will be very easy to lose what they have built over the last 12 years of casual people who is easy to just get in and watch and have a good time and know how this character connects to this character, right?
We start playing with multiverses and all that type of stuff, and a character like Kang, if it's not done right, it can get very confusing very fast.
And that's, I think, probably my biggest issue with this film, as it pertains to it being the first film of the phase, because this film is supposed to set this is setting the precedent for what we're gonna run into. And I'll keep it a buck. Out of the 31 films that exist, when you include this one, I honestly think this is the first one where I think if you haven't I think it's the first one that's not a good one to come in on.
I can agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Almost anything in phase 4, you could have come in having not really paid attention or watched most of the other stuff, or maybe you saw 1 or 2 here and there. And I feel like you could comfortably come in, watch it, and get a good gist of what's going on and be fine, and maybe be hungry to go back and find out what's going on. This film, I think, is so heavily rooted in what has already happened and what is supposed to be happening that it doesn't, I don't think, in the same way leave you like, oh man, I should go. I didn't see the second. I should go watch Ant-Man 2. You know what I mean? I should go. You know, like, it tries to fill in some of those gaps. I think it tries to fill in some of that. I think there are some flashbacks and some things that kind of try to tell you what has happened and what's going on, so that you don't completely feel left out. And I mean, I'm sure the average person can follow it, but I still think it does. It is nowhere near as comprehensive in terms of making you feel like you can watch this film as a one-off. It's not there in the way that I think most of the other films were. And there's so much happening. I don't think it quite comes together as well. So for the first film in the phase, if you're already in, I mean, you're in, so it doesn't matter. Like, you're already in. So like, yeah, I think this is great for, like, I can't wait to see what the next thing is. And the next thing is coming so quickly. Couple of months. You know what I mean? We get like 2 more movies. Like, they're coming real fast. So, and we still don't have like finalized dates for TV shows. You know
yet. And apparently there's only 2 of them coming this year from reading about, versus I think it was originally supposed to be like 3 or 4 of them that we were supposed to actually be seeing this year.
Well, that was one of the things that Feige said in that last interview, was that they were looking at kind of spacing it out. Trying to, you know, playing with that a little more, which again, it just tells you that a lot of this stuff is still very experimental. There really just hasn't been anything else ever that has done what they're doing in terms of tying TV shows with different characters and different properties into continuity of these movies, and, you know, all that other kind of stuff. And so with scheduling delays and, you know, changes, and, you know, like, we're getting Guardians, we're getting Marvels, we're getting, you know what I mean? There's just, you know, Loki season 2, we're getting another What If. We know all this stuff is coming. There's still a lot of questions. You still got Secret Invasion. You still got like Skrulls in the background somewhere. You still, like, it's just, there's so much happening. That for me, I'm excited. But I do think that for the average person, like, it would be very hard,
maybe a little over the top,
to recommend to somebody who hasn't jumped in already to jump in here. That's not saying that the movie is bad. It doesn't necessarily ding the score for me, but it would make me ding the score for other people, I think, if I was giving recommendations. Like, this one really does. I feel like this is really the first film that has for me the caveat. If, you know, we get asked these kinds of questions all the time. Should I see it? Can I take my kids to go see it? Is it worth it? Like, we get all those questions all the time. When I get those questions from a person who says, I never really got into it. People are talking about, I was thinking about going to see it. Should I go see it? This is really the first movie where I feel like if you haven't, you probably shouldn't. That just is kind of where I am with it. Like, it's really going to be much harder for me to recommend. I think it's fun. I think it could be a good, I think it's a good movie. I think it's fun. But I think so much of what makes this movie in particular good are small nuances that harken back to things that won't mean anything to you at this point. And I don't know if that's a writing thing. I don't know if it's a director thing. And you know what I mean? I don't know if it's just because, like, the Russos handled that kind of stuff so well. Everybody's not necessarily built to kind of do that and build on that. And so, this one, though I enjoyed it, I think it's harder for me to recommend if you're not already in. That's kind of what
that's definitely behind that. Yeah, that's definitely agreeable.
Let's get into it, but let's have a little fun with this one. I don't want to dig, I don't necessarily want to just kind of dig like a straight path through the movie, directly. I want to get some insight from you all that is specific to some of the things that are happening. Again, we going spoilers free, so we can talk about whatever we want and kind of jump back and forth if we need to. Jokes.
Yo.
Do you have a favorite moment from this movie?
I think my favorite moment, honestly, it's kind of like at this point, it seems like it's kind of a one-off thing, but I gotta go with MODOK and just the whole Darren callbacks in the I'm not a dick. Like I just thought that was actually done pretty well. Normally, when you try to go back and like retell like that same joke like over and over multiple times, it can fall flat. But I still think with the way that folks was reacting to seeing his face for the first time, he's stretched out.
That was his face was absolutely terrifying.
Because we had heard those rumors that it looks like MODOK is just going to have this mechanized face and it was going to be different. But then we started hearing the rumors of who actually potentially was going to be MODOK. So actually seeing that happen was pretty funny to see, and that was kind of one of those callbacks to. Like, if you didn't see Ant-Man 1 and you kind of jumped into this, you would have been like, well, who is this guy? And all this.
Why does it matter? Why is it funny? You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I thought it was handled pretty well. It was funny. And they made it last for I would say a solid maybe like 30 to 45 minutes from when he first showed face on screen to the end of it. But I thought they did pretty well with that.
You know what? I on that note, I think that I think that moment between he and Cassie at the end, I actually do think that was overdone. Like when it was happening, I was really thinking, okay, I know Marvel, you really just officially announced that like Deadpool is going to be your first R-rated movie. We now have Daredevil and so forth. But to me, it kind of felt like they were pushing the envelope. Let's see how far we can push this. Let's see how many dick jokes we can throw in like a 30-second span. Like it just kind of
right.
And then I'll be honest, like it's not that it wasn't funny. It just kind of felt like they were doing it to do it. Like I almost felt like they were trying to just see what, just
test
see
the
what
waters to see how people will react to it. I can get on board with that.
Sin.
Yeah.
You have a favorite moment from this movie?
I do actually. When I was trying to think of one, like leaving the movie and everything, was one that just kept coming back to me. It's the moment when Janet touches that little engine orb thing, and he sees her. Oh, okay, you just kind of seen my thoughts and everything, and just the acting in that moment between those two, like she looked like she had genuine terror in her face, seeing everything that he's done. That whole scene, I absolutely loved. That's definitely probably my favorite moment of that. Just their interaction right there when she learns, everything that he's done and what type of person he really is. Yeah, that was probably my favorite part.
That was solid.
Honestly think, man, watching Jonathan Majors like finally snap. This is the thing. He's so subtle. Like what you're talking about, Sin, in that moment where she touched the engine. For me, I actually like the moment maybe right before that when they're just sitting down.
Yeah.
And they're
having a conversation.
He starts talking about the last thing that she did was lie to her daughter, right? Before she ended up there. She told her she was coming home. Right, and him saying we're gonna get you home, like, and he seems so genuine. He seems so, and he's believable.
I think he was genuine. Even though she touched it, she was looking at him. He was like, "Yeah, no, I'm
it was good.
I promise you.
Nah, he's like, I made a promise.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna uphold what I promised for you."
She was like,
about all those other worlds.
No.
About them. Don't worry, yours
is okay.
Yeah,
he's I don't
even think he was promising her world was gonna be okay. I think he was just like, I can take you back in time for that moment. Cause you gotta remember that, like, God, this is why this movie is so when you start talking about time and time streams and pruning time and all that kind of stuff, like remember that she's in the quantum realm in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Scott was in like a time warp, whatever.
The area that he was in, it was the shorter time that he was in the quantum realm. So much more time passed on the outside than what it seems like it did for her.
He was in a time vortex. Like at the end of that movie, Janet said to him when they were sending him into the quantum realm, watch out for the time vortexes, because if you go in one of those, we can't get you out. It's not, you know what I mean? So he didn't go to where she went, so to speak. So like,
right.
Time passed normally for her. So at the time when she's dealing with Kang, we don't know how long she's been down there already.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But him saying, I can get you back, and basically like promising her like it'll be like it never happened. What does that mean? Does that mean no Avengers? Does that mean she never goes with Hank to go and stop what does that actually do to that timeline? Does he take her back? She's now in position. She has the knowledge that she already had, that she shouldn't go on this trip. Does she keep Hank from going? Does that then end up having the explosion of the bomb that they were trying to neutralize beforehand? Right? For him, it could be like that he already knows that if he takes her back to that moment, she makes a different decision, and none of that happens
anyway.
Right? And so everything blows up, or it's an apocalyptic world, or whatever, because she doesn't make that choice. Because you have to remember that when Loki went to the TVA, and he talks about them going back in time with the Infinity Stones and all that, or whatever, Ravonna Renslayer says to him, they were supposed to do that. All of that was supposed to happen. What you did wasn't supposed to happen. He created a branch timeline. They tried to prune him. So anything that was a branch timeline that would have been created from that, they go in, the TVA keeps that from happening. And that's what He Who Remains was doing. He was steadying the timeline, keeping it as one timeline so that there was no real multiverse.
Right.
Because even if you went and created an alternate loop, they could go in and prune it from continuing on. So if she went back, now time is
create a different timeline now.
It's all over the place anyway. I mean, she's where she's supposed to be in the timeline based on what has happened. If what Ravonna is saying is true, right? She was supposed to end up in the quantum realm. She's supposed to meet Kang. She's supposed, like, all of that is supposed to happen. It's not until He Who Remains is gone in Loki season 2 that things begin to diverge, and it's okay. Not okay, but like it continues to happen that way. So what's happening as they're back there is a diverging timeline that is something different from what it was. So he might have just been like, nah, like I'm gonna really take you back because it doesn't matter. Right? And she's like, so then what? I mean, I'm gonna obliterate the joint, but you're gonna get back. Like, you're gonna get this.
Right.
She's not gonna remember you as a liar. She's not gonna, whatever. Like, but I got you though. Because he can almost say whatever he wants.
Sure.
Right? Because he can travel the multiverse. Especially now that she helped him. All right, let's talk about the things we don't like. Let's do that. Let's get that. So really looking like there's nothing you really didn't like about
No,
it.
there was a couple of, I'm trying to think of the ones. Like me and Sin had a conversation, and I think we both landed on something similar. But I'm trying to remember exactly. Oh, the ending of the movie. So when they were redoing, like, how Scott was walking down the street, kind of retelling, oh, hey, I'm an Avenger. We did this. I think I saved things. And when he got to the point where he was like, well, wait, he did say that this threat was coming, did I just mess things up? Like, I felt at that moment when he said it, because I was looking for this movie to have more of a, not necessarily the happy ending, but maybe like a false victory type of thing. I almost felt like the movie could have ended perfectly with him, though, having that feeling of the fact that I think I just screwed up, and now whatever this huge being or power that's going to come to like just destroy everything, that he's kind of the reason why it's happening. I see that as a parallel to Infinity War, or Endgame, I should say, where he was kind of the solution to the whole entire problem. Now he's become like the issue, or that he's created the whole entire thing. I almost felt like they could have ended it there, and it would have been a much cleaner ending versus the whole fake birthday. Like, I get it was family bonding time or whatever.
I saw that as all the same thing. Mm-hmm. Like, all of him questioning whether he did the right thing, whether what he was doing actually worked or not. All of that, from him walking down the street to them having a birthday party to like all of that, I feel like was all the same thing, was all that constant thing of him questioning whether or not he, really did help or if he hindered things. But if you remember when we did our predictions, I told you I thought that this movie was going to end the way Infinity War ended, where it's like, we didn't really win. Like, it's just kind of quiet. Because to me, and again, that's what I said then, was like, we know what's coming. Like, we know that the Avengers have to fight the Kangs at some point. We know Secret War.
I remember.
We know those things are coming. So I'm like, it can't really be like a definitive, like we did it. You know what I mean? And so,
I remember now what it, Sin, I'm gonna let you talk about it. It's just the whole way, like the whole battle ended.
I hated the ending. I hated the ending in this movie so much. I think like when he's fighting Kang, right? I'm like, all right, here we go. And right before he's fighting Kang, and his family's going through the portal. I was like, all right, Kang ain't gonna let that happen. And sure enough, he comes, he pushes Cassie out the way, and him and Ant-Man start fighting. I'm like, all right, cool, let's go here. All right, I'm ready for this. He says the thing, no, we just both gotta lose. All right, bet. This is gonna happen. He's gonna get trapped in there, right? And then Wasp comes through. I'm like, oh man, they both gonna get trapped. Okay, I can go with this. I can rock with this. Okay. Yeah. And then they beat him. Everybody's cheering. And then Cassie opens up the portal and they walked on. I was like, what the hell is this? It's like, no. And it goes to this old happy-go-lucky kind of. And I'm like, no. This is just no. You're just bringing us down for me. Stop. It'd have been much better if one or both of them got trapped going forward. I feel like.
And that was the thing we agreed on. Yeah.
Or that, but like this switching to the happy-go-lucky, this supposed to be Kang. Like, I didn't like the ending at all.
I feel like it's because he's Ant-Man. I almost feel like they thought that they made it feel like that it has to be like a happy ending type of thing. Like, I don't know. I just didn't.
But this is the thing. It wasn't a happy ending. It wasn't a happy ending. It wasn't happy-go-lucky. I mean, I didn't like the way it happened. Like, it seemed fluke to me that I was disappointed when she opened the portal, which I found to be really strange for me to be disappointed that she opened up, because it was like, well, that was too easy. Like, I thought they was at least gonna be trapped down there for a minute.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Something.
Now, or whatever. But clearly, this is the end of the movie, so But I also thought, well, they didn't kill him. He got shrunk down, just like MODOK. And he went into like the little time vortex portal thing, which is the thing that was powering the portal. And so for me, it was like,
he out.
He done gotten he done made into the portal. He done got to, because she opened the portal again. And that was a thing for me that I think helped me get past the fact that she did it, because I hate Cassie. I hate her. I hate her as a character. I might even hate her as an actress. I don't like this joint. I don't like her. I don't like what she does. I don't like her style. I found her annoying. I don't she doesn't have characteristics of him that I like or Wasp that I like.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about her mother because we never really see her, so I can't see it there. I do think they do some things to help try to establish why she is the way that she is.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate her.
I do like the fact about her that her grandfather and Wasp seem to be really close. As far as like them working on the project together, like just her connecting to like, since Wasp isn't technically her mother, you know what I mean? But like just being able to connect with them two and work on a project together.
The fact they was doing all that behind Scott's back and like
and Jane's back.
He was all busy doing something though. He was all busy being fake famous. Let me ask you a question.
He's Spider-Man.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
Are they married?
I don't think so.
I want to say yes, but I don't think. But they didn't.
They're a couple, but they didn't give me the impression that they were married or anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, he's not her grandfather, but I get it. You know what I'm saying? Janet's not her grandmother, but I get it. I don't know where Scott's I don't know where his parents are. These are Janet's parents, and I can appreciate that there has been some bonding between them.
Mm-hmm.
Is even outside, and I can appreciate that what they're trying to establish is that even with him having had the time away from her that he missed, he didn't really feel it. She did.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I think I appreciate the most about it, is that him being gone for those actual 5 years, you know, he didn't get dusted, but it was like he got dusted.
Yeah.
So him being gone for that time period and actually missing it, but for him it was only 5 hours. He hasn't really aged. You know what I'm saying? And she did. She aged up. He missed a lot. And so like him kind of reveling in who he is now, the fact that he's an Avenger and he helped Captain America, and him even saying like as the movie started, like, my life is stupid. Like it doesn't even make sense that this has happened to me, that this is what I got to do, that this is, you know. And for her, so he missed her growing up, but he didn't miss the time. So for him, it doesn't feel like
5 hours is like
he
work
was out
shift.
running errands. Yeah, exactly.
He went. It was a work shift. He went to work, came back home.
Not even, bruh. It was like a half a shift. Like it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it's crazy for him. He did a time jump, like an actual time jump, and existed for it. Everybody else who got dusted, their time jump was instant. His was at least 5 hours, right? Their time jump was instant. But before this movie, I kind of felt for him, like as a parent, like that he missed all of that, right? That he was away and he missed it. Not really taking into consideration the fact that like mentally though, he didn't miss anything. Like physically he missed it, but mentally he didn't miss anything. For him, time was about the same. Where for her, he literally was missing throughout all that time. And so he, in this movie, I think, and I don't know that they do a great job of establishing it, but he has not done things to actually make up for the time that he missed. And she's feeling that.
Yeah.
He's not. He's reveling in the celebrity.
Being an Avenger.
Right? I'm doing a podcast, writing a book, best-selling jump, doing signings, reading the kids, getting free coffee, because you Spider-Man, not Ant-Man, you know, whatever, right? Like,
hey, listen, speaking of that coffee bit, that cup of coffee was $12.
Right, bro, you are not Starbucks. Relax, my guy.
It's San Francisco though. It's different.
I know it's different. I was like, $12 for coffee? Like,
you know, I mean, listen, I don't know what kind of job Ant-Man. I don't know how Ant-Man get paid.
Gets off the book now.
Now?
Yeah.
Must be. We never see his house. We don't see where he's living. We don't see how he's living. We don't know. Like we don't know. I assume he just living in a house.
That's what I assumed.
That's pretty much what I was assuming.
They sit down for dinner and all that. Yeah, I mean, as far as the ending goes, I didn't hate it like you did, Sam. I was disappointed. I think in the moment, like the moment she showed up, and I'm trying to decide now whether or not it's because I hate her so much. I didn't like her at all. Yeah, she just rubbed me the wrong way. Like it just, for him to get out though and have those questions, I think is important because I think he's gonna need to be out because he's gonna be the only person
that knows about Kang outside of
Wasp will know. But I mean, like nobody else is gonna have any idea what might be going on. So that tells me that going forward, his character is still very important. That he needed to be out of the quantum realm in order for that to be a thing. I also, though, was more confused about the ending because the post-credit scenes make it seem like they really did get rid of him. Like he really might actually be dead. Because the other Kangs are ready to celebrate. Like Immortus and like
they was ready to
it was like they did it. So what's up? You know what I mean? Like he's gone. But is he? I don't think he
is. The only other thing is maybe obviously with the whole timepiece and the quantum realm type of thing is maybe the portal that opened necessarily wasn't his right universe to go back into.
That's the other thing I was thinking, was that he's not actually in the original timeline that he was in.
And so maybe in his actual timeline, as far as they know, Scott did not make it back. And like that's the only thing that I could actually like put together from that, because if Kang got sucked up by the thing, maybe he did something inside of because a part of me was like, oh, he's in the void, which was tempting me, knowing a few pieces of Kang out of the comics, that is this one going to revert to a different, what should be two different variants of himself? Are they going to make this version of Kang the one that's kind of lost in the void? Because I know there's a version of him that is like just in the middle of like limbo. That's what they called it in.
Yeah. Right? I mean, it makes me wonder whether or not somehow he ends up being Iron Lad in that, you know, because of what happened to him, you know, there. I mean, it could be any number of things. Like I in terms of trying to talk about how I feel about this movie, it's hard to do that without wanting to go off and talk about what it could be, or you know, whatever. Absolutely. What the speculation is. Part of the fun, I think, of the MCU, but
is being able to do it.
If you notice, like, I think I am gonna go watch it again. Once he gets back and he's walking like he did. So when they mirror the beginning of the movie, with him walking down the street and every time he has one of those thoughts about like, man, did I just mess up? Did we really get rid of him? Or if we did get rid of him, what was the big thing that was coming that he's supposed to be stopping that now he isn't, you know, there to stop? It was every time he saw something purple or green. So like he walked past a lady, she had on like a purple shirt. And he's like, did I actually? You know what I mean? Then he walked past somebody else and they had like something purple on, you know, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's something else, you know, going on here. But that's hard to say. You know what I mean? Like it just, it's one of those things again where I feel like it's going to be important later on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We just won't be able to realize it until then and come back, like kind of like the Iron Man 3, like how things were so relevant. Shang-Chi hit, made it super relevant all over.
Just like MODOK. Yellow Jacket. I'll be honest, I didn't like MODOK.
I don't get me wrong. Like the only reason why like I'm not too over the top is the fact of the whole variant, the multiverse thing. Like I'm like, okay, at some point we're gonna get the more comic traditional MODOK maybe at some point in time.
I don't think so.
Like I said, it could just be the one-off.
I think this is it.
Yeah, MODOK he needs to stay down.
I think this is it. I didn't like it. I mean, I did chuckle when my man said, "At least I got to die as
an Avenger."
I did just like that. I sat up like,
I did too.
My theater lost it. Hey, shoot! After
even when he said we're like brothers, it's like, really, bro?
Like, really? Oh, I don't know. So apparently Scott has the ability, just like Cap, to just make somebody an Avenger. He didn't even say Avengers Assemble.
Hey, listen, Hawkeye did it. That's how Scarlet Witch became an Avenger.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess once you're in, you can grant somebody that status.
Like the King Arthur with the like, I denied you.
Is Janet an Avenger?
I would think so, but I feel like she doesn't have that.
Nah.
She's not in with them, but she was there during Endgame at the end. So Cap said Avengers Assemble, and they were all there. So
well, you got a
I
point.
feel like anybody that was there at that point in time, and Cap said Avengers Assemble, I feel like
you're an official Avenger.
I feel like you're an Avenger.
I guess so. I mean, that means it's a whole lot of Dora Milaje.
Yep.
Hey,
it's a whole lot of Bama just back that joint like, we Avengers, bro.
Dora Milaje is a team and a force to be reckoned with by themselves. So
what?
All right. You know, since you said you had several things that you didn't really like.
I had three things. The ending was one. The second one is, for me, I need some type of explanation of the quantum realm. Like, to get there, it looks pretty, it looks weird, it looks crazy. There's people down there, and there's weird looking things down there. Can they just give me 60 seconds? I don't need a long drawn out thing, just something to wrap my head around the quantum realm. Because, hey, we thought people couldn't survive down here. Now there's people here. You know what I'm saying?
Civilization.
Yeah, like all that type of stuff. I just needed something to wrap my head around.
Man, she gave
the
it
quantum
to
realm.
She told you. It's universes, it's worlds on top of worlds down there that he couldn't see that deep down in there. Like, even when Slim was like, when they was talking and she was like, so, oh yeah, that's what y'all call yourselves. You call yourselves human. Like, you know, Hank says, like, this completely changes our entire thoughts of life and how it exists and structures and whatever. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think that's as good as it gets. I think that's just what the quantum realm is. It is just a smaller, again, it's Men in Black, bro. It's the Marvel thing, right? It's just like, it's just worlds inside of worlds inside of worlds. And, you know, again, it could expand to larger than what we have. It could be smaller than what we have. But, you know, Kang, I guess, is only dealing with the timeline that we you know, deal in. But again, I don't think that there's I think that's as good as it gets, for real. And I'm gonna tell you that part of that is because I don't think the explanation even in the comics gets any better than that. It's just you know, like, it's to be honest, it's almost like, it's a little easier to understand, but like, there's this entire civilization of all these people that live in the water that been there for however many years with Namor, right? And there's all this stuff that's happening far out in space with the Guardians that, like, you're on Earth, you have no idea any of this stuff even exists. You don't, you know what I mean? There's all these beings, all these creatures, there's these entities that design life and whatever. Well, what does that mean for the quantum realm? Are they doing anything with quantum? Are they down? Are we in some other version of a quantum realm for somebody else? Like, it
Don't
just
know.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's just one of those things where it's just trying to basically say that, like, the universe is crazy expansive and that, you know, almost anything is possible, right? And it's kind of like, it is what it is. I think if they tried to explain it,
it would cause a little more confusion, and so let's just simplify it. We'll just leave it like this ominous thing, and you know what, we can always come back and throw extra tidbits in if we want to for it.
I mean, to a certain extent, it's just kind of like, for real, it's almost like being like, why can Dom's car do what Dom's car does? You know what I'm saying? In that world, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, you're like, I'm there. I just, you know what I mean? It is what it is, right? Like, they super tiny, like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all this stuff that you have no idea. Again, even like with the ants at the end of the movie, and it's like, oh, they got stuck in like a time vortex, and they was thousands of years. Oh, all right, and y'all still know who Hank is?
That's the guy, I guess.
Hey, I mean, ants. They say, I guess, like, ants live for a very long period, and they can survive all the different type of elements.
And these ants were extra smart too.
They were already extra smart. Yeah, yeah. When they went down, remember, he was looking at the little ant colony or whatever. And they were doing this stuff and they had little helmets on. Like, oh, all right, you know. You can't really have an Ant-Man. I was a little upset about that, but you can't really have an Ant-Man movie without ants.
Yeah, without ants, yeah.
They got to do something.
Like, soon as I saw them when they was flying down trying to catch each other when they first got pulled in, I was like, but they weren't there when they got down there. I was like, those are the smart ants. They're going to show up at some point. I'll just wait for it to happen. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
It was definitely, like, set up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, it kind of felt like a cop-out, to be honest. And, you know, the way the ants just showed up or whatever. I felt good for Hank, though. Like, let him get his, you know what I'm saying, have his moment or whatever. But, like, even early on, like, my daughter asked me, she was like, is Hank wearing a hearing aid? And I was like,
hey, Tatiana asked me the exact same thing. And I was like, at first, I was like, that looks like maybe it's like a communicator or something. But yeah. I was like, at the same time, I was like, you know what? Maybe they're just going to play on that he's a little bit older and they're doing that. I was like, it could be either one. But until we get to the end and then we get the explanation, I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it was kind of a cop-out. Them joints just showed up. They was the army of all armies, bruh, and just came through. And it just like, I don't know. We'll get the stuff out of it like later. Sin, continue.
My biggest thing...
Dang, it wasn't the ending. Let's go.
No, I did like that. My biggest thing is, look, I'm enjoying the movie. I'm really enjoying Jonathan Majors as Kang the whole time. Like, all right, the big bad guy is here. Hey, bruh, you got your ass beat by Ant-Man and his family. I no longer consider him a major level threat, dog. Like, I just don't feel it anymore whatsoever. Like, I know he is in the books, but like, this is my real first introduction to Kang. So it's like, I'm trying to get on board. Even when I see the after credit scenes, I'm seeing the Kangs, like, okay, but like, he still got beat by Ant-Man and his family. Like, yeah, I could just call the Avengers of Dora Milaje and whoop y'all. Like, you don't scare me whatsoever anymore. So for me, the MCU they have to sell it to me, because right now I have, as far as him being the Thanos of this, I am just not feeling it right now after seeing this.
I think they definitely. So that's one of my biggest gripes with this, is that they deviate, I think, so much from what they have set as the rules of this reality, right? Where we talk about suspension of disbelief all the time. I'm good with suspension of disbelief, but you still have to play with the rules within your own realm. Right. You know what I mean? Right, so when I look at the fear Janet had in her heart, the destruction that this dude was causing, this man said, "Are you the one with the hammer?" Okay, so we punished Thor.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't no thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they trapped him in a ship that he didn't need. Okay. Well, I take that back. He did need it. But there's a part of me. Here's part of what I think is the undoing of Kang as he stands. So I'm gonna not push back. I understand exactly what you're saying, because I kind of felt the same way. Because I'm like, this dude has crushed entire timelines. He's wiped out Avengers, destroyed whatever.
Ant-Man is his weakness.
And yeah, and he got, it's almost like that.
Ant-Man the Wasp beat you, bro.
Man, to shrink down and go inside of Thanos' sphincter and then just grow back large again, and then Thanos would be dead. It's one of them things where it's the hubris of Kang that actually defeats him in the end. It's how much better, how much stronger, how much more powerful he believes that he is than Ant-Man and his family. Your disbelief in their ability to beat Kang is exactly his disbelief in their ability to beat him, and that's why he loses in the end of it. Because for real, he doesn't want to. If he hauls off and he does what he has done, even in just the images we saw in her mind when she was thinking, he's just obliterating everything. Mm-hmm. If he does that, he can't do that without destroying the very things that he built that he needs in order to leave. So he has to be very careful about how much destruction he causes as he tries to quell/quash this rebellion, right? He can't just, because the thing for me was hey dog, one of the things that I loved about Jonathan Majors' portrayal of Kang in this is that he's so chill. Mm-hmm. Until he gets angry. It's like he's been containing and bottling everything. So even when he confronts Ant-Man and Cassie the first time, they're in the thing, you see what he does to MODOK, yo, don't even talk in my presence. So I kind of love that. I love that for the moment, but I wish we'd have got more of it. I wish we'd have got more of him treating, because I really feel like MODOK at the end, where he went at the end, didn't justify where he was, and him deciding to attack him at the end or whatever. We only had that one kind of brief moment, and sure, obviously there's something there, but I feel like we need a little bit more. Mm-hmm. He is with simple gestures of his hand, and he's just really moving his fingers, choking my man out, squeezing her out in her suit, killing them both, dropping portals, lifting portals, doing whatever he wants. When he's where do I have to go? What do I have to do? He just kind of does a quick wave with his hand, opens a whole portal. They just walk through it. This is where we got to go. We at the edge of the thing. You got to go down there and you have to do this. And you got to remember that as brilliant as Kang is, with the technology that he is from hundreds of thousands or millions of years in the future, the tech that he has, right, that actually is powerful enough to allow him to travel the multiverse, but isn't powerful enough to allow him to shrink things. Okay? That he needs Janet, which again, I'm also under the impression, though, even if he wanted to kill Janet, that she doesn't have any Pym particles left to use to help him shrink it back down. So, what are you gonna do? Right? Mm-hmm. So, outside of the fact that she has spent a lot of time with him and told him all about her family, knows who Hank is, and he knows that out there in the world somewhere, there are more Pym particles. That has to be what this whole thing is based on, right? But again, he's built this up, because for me at first, I'm hey dog, just put the junk in the chair and go do what you got to do. But instead, he built this whole
structure, yeah.
But he did it because he wants to take this entire army that he built, entire civilization. And why does he need to do that? Because he knows once he gets out, he got to fight all the other tanks. Yeah. He got to be able to beat the Kangs that was able to beat him and send him there in the first place. So he needs that. He needs that army that he built. So it can't just be the chair. It can't just be him getting out. And he can't just haul off and destroy everything like he's done with all this other stuff, because he needs to get out so that he can enact his revenge on them. Or at least be able to survive fighting with them. He wants to go back as prepared as he possibly can. And he's smarter than everybody else. He's stronger than everybody else. He's more powerful than everybody else because of his suit. Like, he didn't have any of that when he didn't have his suit. She gave him back his suit. That was her mistake, right? She made him powerful enough to do what he was doing in the quantum realm. So, him, I mean, he ain't really get beat by Ant-Man. He got beat by ants.
Either way, ants were involved. Ant-Man, a wasp, and bugs beat him.
Now that part actually, that for a second right there, that's where I was pissed, because I was like, oh, so my man just got eaten by ants, and that's the end of this. And then he shows back up. But I was like,
stop putting them Creed hands on him.
Hey, listen.
He was working it.
Hey, dog, I was watching that joint like, hey, dog, Scott ain't built for this, bro.
No, he is not.
He was getting up. I'm like, this man.
He ain't built for this.
Oh. If we're gonna see that play off, I don't have no plans to go see Creed, but it's like
that baby wants to.
But now I'm like, hey yo, I want to see Killmonger versus Kang right quick.
No. His hands was on 10.
Hey, let me tell you something. I don't know what kind of workout regimen Kang has in the, like. But bruh, like, I imagine it is something like Goku exercising in like 15 times gravity. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the moment Slim showed up and his sleeve was gone, I was like, oh, he about to he got the whole gun out. That
might be one of the worst ass whoopings in the MCU.
Hey yo,
Scott was getting up. I would give him credit, but Scott's
not built for that. Like, Scott knew he's like, yeah, we just both gotta lose.
Yeah, I can't not. Nah, I just gotta defend the best I can.
I just gotta survive.
And I just gotta the door so you can't leave. That's it.
I got to shut this door down, bro.
Yeah.
That's like how you play in some of those video games in the your quest just says survive.
Yep, that was one of them joints.
I mean, look, there's a thing about Scott being angry. Where the devil? Like,
hey,
I'm gonna tell you something right now. It would have took me a lot less time to get over to where he was.
No. Such a big, gigantic dude. It's still, I get it. Once you're bigger, the motions, it takes a little bit longer for certain motions to get to that point. But I'm like, dude, you probably could have Hulk jumped from that spot over to the building and just been there.
Look, again, he doesn't know where Cassie is. She might still be trapped in a building somewhere. Or, he don't know. You kind of have to be careful with that. She's running from MODOK for whatever reason. And, look, I mean, there are things that happen, like, in the moments when there was fighting. I was like enjoying it. I can't think of the leader of the rebellion's name right now.
Hey, she was a beast.
She was a beast, bro. And the Laserhead dude.
he was getting it,
bro. I was a little upset. I ain't gonna lie. But it was dope. When Kang just took that joint, swirled it around him, and threw it back, I said, "Oh,
I was like, damn!"
When they shot my little man up with the hose,
I got
holes. I didn't even know he could do that.
And I think that was another test.
He turned into Kirby.
No, I think that was another test they were trying to throw. My man talking about holes, and he was like, in the third place, I was like, this is a test right here. How far we can go with this.
Drink The red juice, yeah.
Gotta drink my juice.
Drink my
juice. No, sir.
Once she said it, I was like, nah, they got her, dog. Some man, right, dog. Don't do it. They got her. Yeah, I mean, look. As a whole, I like the movie.
Same here.
Like, the movie was fun. You know what I mean? It wasn't as funny, I don't think, as other Ant-Man movies. And again, I feel like I kind of missed the heist part of it. Like, there's a part of me that feels like I wish there was like a little bit more to the idea of like how he had to go get the thing that he needed to steal. Because they kind of set that up. You're a thief. I need you to steal something. You know what I mean? Like, I almost wanted Scott to like roll his eyes and be like, here we go again. I got to steal something.
I thought we were going to get the answer to the question. I thought we were going to find out witness protection.
No, you didn't.
Wow.
No, you didn't.
From the beginning when he was
there was a
yeah.
There was at the table.
Yeah. I was like, oh, are we gonna get the answer?
Oh, when he did the fake magic.
Yeah.
Did the magic and brought the credit card out and then they paid for it anyway. Nah, I didn't think that, bro. I didn't think that at all.
It's still a funny one.
That witness is probably dead in Jersey.
Dog,
Something.
at this point, I'm thinking maybe that witness is a Kang. I don't know. Like,
again, or it's Crow. Again,
one of the two. We got both of them in play now. So,
yeah. I mean, look, I was angry with Janet most of this movie. Didn't like her. Didn't like how she was acting. Didn't like how she wasn't. Like, for me, dog, the minute we down in this joint, you need to tell me what.
Spill the beans. Just spill the beans. Like,
why are we waiting so long? You know what
why
I mean?
do you know these people? Like, everything. Just spill it at this point.
Being the warrior princess, sleeping with Bill Murray, ew.
It's like, I had needs. Like, no.
Nah, you don't need that. I like how Hank spilled his beans though too. Was like,
yeah,
it was dope. And she was like, what happened? He was like, she wasn't you, baby. Oh yeah.
You gonna get some when you get out this quantum realm.
Oh, Cassie needs,
we might be out here for a long time.
A little therapy after hearing all this.
She alright. She alright. Yeah, dog. I don't like Cassie.
I didn't have a problem with Cassie.
She was okay. Like, I wasn't over the top about her. I didn't hate her. She was just right.
Listen, let me tell you something. We're in the quantum realm. Your father is being attacked by a sun amoeba. Hey, Slim, if you don't put that damn suit on right now, what you mean, dog? Why are you still in your regular clothes,
right.
Slim?
I know I'm mad that you have it, but now is not the time for that. Put it on.
Put it on.
Work.
Hey, Slim, what are you doing? I don't like you, young. I don't like you. You almost let him die. Like, you knew what was up. He got big. She knows how to work the suit. She hit his little thumb joint, shrunk him back down. He already knew she had a suit. They already said it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't slap that joint on while we was falling, Slim? Hey, what's wrong with you, dog? I don't like you, dog. I don't like you. And you think you know so much and you don't know nothing. My man trying to school her like, nah. Jump, tap, like, tap, swing.
Like, just like this. Bop, bop, bop. It's that simple.
She's like, I know how to do it, Dad. Oh, it didn't look like you know how to do it.
Nope.
No,
she was getting that thing wrong the whole movie.
She was garbage. I don't like her, dog. I don't like her. But they needed to get out to train her. They needed to. I do like they established how smart she is.
Okay.
And that she just has this thing where she wants to help. She wants to do more. Because again, she lived through something that Scott didn't live through. All the people that are displaced, seeing it all happen again, whatever, like that moment, that displacement is very real for her, and it's not real for Scott. You know what I'm saying? I mean, excuse me, I was busy saving the world. Oh, sure. You know what I mean? You haven't heard this before. You know what I mean? Tell everybody. You know what I mean? And it's like, I guess, yeah, he had more to do with it than Wasp did, but she was there, dog.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I was in a war. You know what? With aliens. You know what I've been through. I saved the Avengers.
Me for saving you all guys from being dust.
Right.
Least I can do is get a free coffee. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like they should have explored it more, and maybe there's something in there, cutting room floor or whatever. But Scott's really the only one out of them that's regular. That's like a regular person. Like when you look at the Avengers, right? Like Iron Man's got all this money and whatever. Like a reality.
Him and Spider-Man.
Yeah, but
Iron Man has
he is anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and yes, he has things, but he has things that are kid problems. Scott has things that are grown up problems. And so nobody knows who Spider-Man is anymore. So Spider-Man can't go off and write a book and do a podcast and actually find a way to carve a living out of having done what he did. Scott almost has to. He's an ex-con. Harder for him to get a job. I mean, Slim got fired from Baskin Robbins, for heaven's sakes. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it actually makes a little bit more sense to me now that he did write a book and that he does have the podcast and he is kind of traveling, because, again, when I said earlier, like, I don't know what his job is. Like, he's not smart the way that Hank and Janet and like, he's not smart like any of them, including Cassie. You know what I'm saying? So all he really has is his street level smarts and the experience that he has from what he's been through. Like, that's really it. And a lot of what he has done has mostly been luck. Like, again, if you kind of let him explain it. So it makes sense that out of all the people, like, Janet is running her father's company. She took her father's company back. She's running the company. She's doing, you know, affordable housing and like all this other kind of stuff. So she's running this corporation. She's got money coming in, right? Hank's retired. He's got money. He dealt with S.H.I.E.L.D. He's cool. Janet came back. She living with Slim. They, whatever. Like, they're cool. Cassie's back and forth, I guess, between her parents. You know what I mean? He's off traveling, trying to do book stuff or whatever, because, again, it's kind of how he probably has to earn, you know what I'm saying, a living. Because it's almost like, what else is he going to do? You know what I mean? So it does kind of give us a little more of that ground level, like, this is where I am. And there's a part of me that feels like it would have been good for them to kind of maybe say it, though. You know, for, like, maybe him to have one of those moments where they're having a conversation. He's like, you got, you have this, you run the corporation, things are great, but I don't have, like, I can't do that. Like, I can't go get a job. I can't go do, this, that, and the third. Like, this is what I have to do. I got to write the book. I got to talk about what my experience is, because this is all I got, or whatever. And I really think that would have maybe helped people kind of zero in, and it might have been a little better. I still don't like Cassie. But, I would have liked to have seen Kang get the opportunity to really show off. But again, I realized that, like, as I was thinking about it, like, he can't, because if he does, he basically has to destroy everything he built in order to do it. So he has to continue to contain the anger he already has, so that he doesn't just snap. Because for real, like, him taking Janet, again, dude just opened the portal and took Janet where he wanted to go. Like when they would like,
yeah,
he could have opened the portal and been anywhere. I just ants be like,
yeah.
Here's the thing. I think the thing I didn't like about the ending with the ants is that I would have rather seen the ants like go in and dismantle his tech. Like go in and attack the city and dismantle all the stuff that he had working and all the stuff that he had going on. So it'll be the kind of thing where it's not just like, oh, the ants beat him up, you know, or whatever. Like you don't see how he survives. What happens with him and the ants? He's got the shield. Clearly, he's, you know, he can't, for whatever reason, he can beat Thor, but I don't know.
Ants is the line.
Whatever.
Ants is OP.
And I know they got some tech and stuff like that, but it would have made more sense to me and been a better ending if he didn't know it. He didn't see it coming. He's up there in the tower. He comes down to fight, and as he's defeating the ant family because they weak, things just start falling apart. And it's like, what is going on? And the structure, you know, all that or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's the ants are literally dismantling all of his stuff. I think that would have been way doper. You know what I mean? Than them just kind of
Just bum rushing.
Yeah. And just being like, because again, this is a technologically advanced ant colony. They're, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they don't have warriors or they can't have warriors, but like, I just feel like that wouldn't be their first train of thought. Would be to just like, go get him. Hank says so. Get out of here. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like that.
I'm mad at it.
I didn't like that at all. I didn't like MODOK. I didn't like the way MODOK died. I could deal with it. Because again, I just thought it was a kind of a cool callback. That if you're gonna have a MODOK and you're gonna try to actually make it make sense in live action, I think the way they did it is the way you have to do it. Like that's, you know. But I also
notice your baby legs.
Straight up. Like, no, they're not. Hey, dog.
They are.
You don't sticking out of your chin, bro. Like they're definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like some of the comedy felt a little forced. But mostly I don't like Cassie.
That's the takeaway. Don't like Cassie.
Yeah, I didn't.
We'll see if she can redeem herself later down the line. She'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, at the end is, you know, what they did. I guess it was cool. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know if I just want to see her be able to do something different from what Scott, because like the difference between Ant-Man and the Wasp, like she has different powers than him.
Right.
You know I mean, like she can shoot stuff and like
she can fly it.
Yeah, and Cassie,
she's neither one technically. She has the ant ability, like she can shrink, she can grow, but
that's it. From what we saw, that's it. I mean, maybe she'll, you know, since they established that she's smart, maybe next time we see her, she'll get a new trick or something like that. Pull some of Wasp's technology, you know, into her suit and expand that way. Who knows?
She's boring.
She gonna build her own Iron Man outfit.
No, we already got that.
No, sir. Yeah, we gotta read. We're good.
Yeah.
We gotta reread. We're good. Yeah, I mean, we knew Stature was coming, so that's fine. It just felt kind of uneventful. I think the way that they waited for her to have her suit, again, it just felt like they were scripted, like very scripted, like we need a moment for her to reveal that she's wearing a suit. To me, that moment was when you're falling out of the sky, or the first time your father tried to fight his son for you. To She's like, is that something moving? Oh yeah, no, I don't think that's a sun. That's an amoeba.
That
I don't know.
Saying it's going to see us as a virus. It's going to try to kill us.
Yeah, I mean, Janet can ride a stingray. That's cool, I guess. A manta ray.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. There's a broccoli man.
Yes, there was. Didn't he try to pull up on Hope?
Hey, he tried. He tried.
Hey, can I tell you, that is one of the best moments in this entire movie. My man tried to run up on, like,
oh, he did.
What you drinking? Like, yeah, like right. Really, like,
try to end up hitting.
Like, oh my, are you serious? Like, even here, like, I gotta
deal with that here.
How do I throw up and get this juice where I can understand you out of my system right quick?
This red goop.
Yeah, my man Hank ain't like flying that ship. At first
stop, man, like, no, put them all the way in. Like, okay, like,
I get it. Like, oh, you want me to touch this? Like, these things are moving and it's living and it's weird.
She just said, put your arms all the way in. All right. By the end of that joint, my man was like, I'm gonna fly up.
Yep.
Let's go. Ew, yeah. Ew. All right. Let's go overalls and let's get some scores out here. Mm-hmm. Jokes, I'm going to you first. Overall thoughts and a score.
It was decent. It wasn't, I don't think it was as bad as what critics have made it out to be. Thought it was enjoyable. I thought it was fun. Definitely not the best MCU movie that's out there. I'm at a 7 out of 10. It was highly enjoyable. Gave us the pieces that we needed to kind of get this thing off the ground for Phase 5.
Same place. I'm at a 7 out of 10. Yeah, that's exactly what I said when I walked out of the movie. I was like, yeah, this is a 7 for me. Like, I had my issues with it, but overall, I did enjoy myself going out to see it. Laughed a good number of times, enjoyed myself. So, yeah, 7.
Agreed. This is a 7. I don't think that this Ant-Man movie is as enjoyable as the other 2 Ant-Man movies. I don't think it's as funny. I think it's missing the heist stuff. Again, it didn't have to have that. Like, that's,
Mm-hmm.
But again, as I've been saying, I think a lot with these movies, I think in retrospect, this movie will end up being better than it currently is. I think there's a lot of underlying things. I know there's a lot of Easter eggs that I just need to go back and really kind of take in. And I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. Seeing Timely at the end of the joint with Loki, that moment I was like, oh, we about to do something.
I actually had someone hit me up because obviously dude's name is Victor Timely. So the first question out of their mouth was, wait, is this the Victor that I'm thinking? I was like, no. Just
Von Doom?
I was like, stop. Like, no. This dude, Victor Timely, is a guy. This is one of his aliases.
It is one of his variants.
And this dude, like, there's connections. And I know when Feige said that the Fantastic Four is going to have a major part to play in all this, like, this is one of those first pieces of that puzzle that you can start to put together. So from my understanding, Victor Timely apparently had something to do with, I'm not going to say Johnny Storm per se, but apparently I guess there was another Human Torch at some point in time that he had a hand. Yeah, that he had a hand in actually creating or putting knowledge toward. So I'm guessing maybe somehow overall they'll say, oh, Kang has something to do with the creation of the Human Torch. Like, just little small things, depending on how they try to approach this. Like, tying the Fantastic Four really into Kang, I think could be a good thing just as far as moving the story along. Because, like, we all know how we feel about the Fantastic Four. So
garbage.
I think Kang, and using certain parts of those story elements, they may not even use some of the comic elements of what goes down. Like we know there's a Kang that's related, that is in relation to Reed Richards.
Listen, well, the original Kang is a descendant of Nathaniel Richards. Reed Richards is a descendant. Here's what would kind of be crazy. If Victor Timely does in fact create the android Human Torch, and because Victor Timely is black, if the Human Torch is Michael B. Jordan, if the android joint is Michael B. Jordan, that will be crazy, bro. That would be crazy. But like, Victor Timely is supposedly like supposed to be one of those inventors that like is like an inspiration for Howard Stark, which again could very easily tie into like Iron Lad and all of that stuff down the road. I mean, also Timely, like Marvel Comics was originally called Timely Comics before it changed over to Marvel, so it's kind of like a harken back to that too. But the fact that Loki, that they have clearly gone into a timeline somewhere looking for, because, and here all Wilson's character be like, "Don't you say this guy was like scary, or you know what I'm saying, whatever?" And Loki's
face said it all.
He's fearful, right? But he don't know Kang. He knows He Who Remains.
Yeah.
And the idea that like He Who Remains was the one surviving Kang of the Council of Kangs that then learned to prune the timelines to keep every other Kang in check. That like all of the chaos that Kang explains when he pulls the 2-time, when he takes Janet up, which again is kind of like, he don't really need Janet. He could have just killed her right there or whatever. But like the fact that he takes her back and they use that as like a plot device so that now he can take the timelines and show the single ring timeline over the branching multiverse timeline plane and all that, and kind of trying to, I think, encapsulate the idea of what is happening time-wise and what's really going on with variants. Like I think we're like, what they did with Loki and variants isn't even close to like all of what, again, you saw all the different Kangs when they showed the Council of Kangs at the end, all these different variants. And again, He Who Remained wanted, you think I'm bad, wait till you meet my variants. Right? And when he explains, if you go back and you watch Loki again, when they get there and he's trying to explain like what happened, and he's saying that like throughout time, every version of him always did something like what he's doing, and then realized like they basically needed to take over time, and so it was causing all these branching timelines, and that caused this multiversal war, and they're fighting each other and trying to get rid of each other so that there's only one left. And the one who remained knew that the only way to keep all of the timelines in check and to keep himself from destroying all the timelines like Kang the Conqueror is doing is to create one single stream and prune the timelines anytime something happened. And therefore there's the creation of the TVA. What I think is going to happen is that I think it's possible that maybe Kang the Conqueror's girlfriend or lover or helped him do that in some way was Ravonna Renslayer. Because I know that she plays a part in it. And when he talked about in this movie, like when she said like something about him not losing anything, he's like, I have lost. Like, you have no idea what I've lost. And when he says that, like, he kind of snaps. I feel like you can't do that / say that and not reveal. Of course, we don't know who's in witness protection. So, like, you can't, like, not reveal where that anger came from, where that storyline came from that drove that Kang to that point. You have to go back and explore that. So even if it's just somehow, again, because the timelines are all over the place, it actually does create a possibility for like Loki and them to go to a timeline where that Kang exists already.
Mm-hmm.
He could get out another way. It's weird, bro. They could do whatever they want.
Yep.
Loki and What If were kind of the ones for me that were like, oh yeah, now they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
This joint just helps to confirm that. I'm at a 7, bro. Like, it's cool. I enjoyed the movie. It's worth seeing. Again, I'm gonna go see it again.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I don't know. I don't think I can recommend this to somebody who isn't already
In for it.
I think if you're in, you should
Continue the path.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're not, this ain't the one.
Don't start here. Yeah.
Either you're gonna go back and just
Yeah.
go back and start, or you gonna wait until there's something else at this point.
Yeah, it does concern me about all the other stuff going forward and how easy they'll be for people to jump in if they're not already hip.
Mm-hmm.
And I think comics is like that anyway.
Oh no, definitely.
Like that's just how comics are. So you just have to. I think you just have to pick a point, and then you have to hope that they do something that's enough to make you go, let me go see the other joint. Let me go get this whole issue, you know, and see that or whatever. So yeah, I enjoyed it. We're all at a 7, so that's 7 out of 10. I appreciate y'all jumping in and hanging out with us for this extra long episode of Spoiler Boys for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We are going to wrap this one up. We will be doing a Spoiler Boys for the full run of The Last of Us on HBO Max once that finishes. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll keep you updated. Gentlemen, got anything else?
No, I think that covers it for now.
There you go.
Cool. And with that, we are out. Tools and loops.
Loading snacks.